Awesome. Hey, good day, all of our friends. I've got my friend Caleb Clark with us, and he is on staff here at Heritage Custom Painting as our content manager. He's been with us for now moving just past 2 years, and I'm excited to have him on the podcast today. He's actually the one who produces this, so he gets to produce and be part of it today.
Yeah, I'm producing it as we're recording it. That's why my computer is right here in front of me.
Yeah, nice. So in the world of not being just a painter, we want to talk about some of those things. And one of those things that really has excelled our business at Heritage Custom Painting is the world of digital marketing and content being written and video content, and then specifically search engine optimization, or what is also known as SEO. So some people don't always know exactly what that is. So let's dig into that. Let's go back, Caleb, to you first coming to Heritage and maybe kind of the why behind why are you here? How did that start?
Yeah, so it's a funny story. My dad messaged me one day and said, "Hey, my buddy Jason is looking for someone to do IT stuff and like writing and like video stuff." And he's like, "The boy does all that." That's his nickname for me.
Yeah.
So he calls me and says,
Right.
"You should get a hold of Jason." I was like, "Yeah, I'll get around to it, Dad."
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I didn't. And then you messaged me and be like, "Hey, your dad talked to me and said you might be interested in this." So then we set up an interview. We had a little conversation. I kind of went over my experience. I've got a decade of experience in freelance writing about all kinds of topics.
Yep.
And then I came on board.
Yeah, that's actually a fun memory to think back on that, and it's fun you never know. Your dad knows everybody, you know, and everybody knows your dad, and so it was fun to just kind of throw that out there in the Facebook world. I think it was on Facebook, and he responded to me, and so it's just neat to see God just kind of pulling those things together, and just a lot of fun that way. So you're here, and we're now like, why are we writing content? Why does it even matter, right? It's like the big question is like, why would I want to write a blog? Why would I want to do that? And I know kind of the why, but I'm going to let you kind of answer to our listeners why.
Yeah, so in that interview and then the first week or two of me being here, you gifted me a book called They Ask, You Answer by Marcus Sheridan. And for those of you who don't know, Marcus Sheridan is a very successful digital marketer, and his whole philosophy around how to promote content, how to create content that people are going to look for, is to answer questions about your business, and not in a salesy way, just in a genuine, honest way. So he started off selling fiberglass pools. So he would just write very clear information about how much they cost, the cons of fiberglass pools, maintenance issues, and he just answered everything he could. And
he does a really nice job. Just to talk a little bit about the book, he does a real nice job, because for me, I don't always love to read books, but it's a very storied book, and so as you're reading it, you'll see exact illustrations of stories that he had and how he dealt with it. So sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, no, you're fine. He does an excellent job of like saying, "Hey, this is how it worked for me personally," and then also presenting data on this is how it also worked for my clients, who I do the exact same stuff for.
Right.
So yeah, that was an inspiring book, and it was kind of the approach I wanted to take anyway, and it was just a matter of execution, because because of that book, we had a similar language and like a common foundation of how we want to approach doing this.
Sure. It's interesting because our staff, a lot of our staff, has been a different. We're all in different locations as far as our expertise in regards to paint. But the fun thing is we get asked questions every single day, almost the exact same questions over and over and over and over. How long is it going to take for that to dry? How long is, when will the paint show up? When will the painter show up? When will this happen? And on and on and on. And those of you that listen that own service companies or painting companies specifically know that to be true about your company. Like, how long is this going to take, or what's this going to cost, or whatever. And that's all we did, is we just made a list on a dry erase board of all those questions and then started answering them. And it's not difficult. And it honestly, what it has done is it has helped us save our breath, right? We put it onto paper.
Exactly, and that's kind of the way I've viewed it. Mark Sheridan talks about it in the video section specifically of the book, but I kind of took it wholeheartedly. Was video is an asset to sales, and I just took that as everything I produce supports sales. And if I can save a consultant from answering a question again and again and again,
Sure.
that's a win for us.
So let's break that down real quick before you go. I mean, and I'm interrupting, but like, let's look at how do we apply that? How do we make that an asset to sales today? Like, what are some of the steps that we've done? Obviously, you write a blog, you have that available. People can go on your website, they can see that. Give us some practical application of how to then make that an asset.
So what we've really started doing is we've started incorporating it into our pre-positioning and eventually just all of our emails between clients. So when someone calls and they're like, we want an estimate, we're like, great. Krista will talk to the client, get a feel for what paint products are you interested in.
Right.
Is it exterior? Is it interior? And she'll actually email them lists of blog articles that we've written, like, hey, here's answering some of the basic questions. We've made something called the 80% video, which is a video that answers 80% of the questions that most people have.
Yep.
And we're like, hey, you should watch that. It's about 15, 20 minutes long on average, but it goes through everything. And our retention data shows that upwards of 65, 70% of people who actually watch that video watch it until the end.
Yeah.
So
and it's fun because sometimes we'll get into some of those videos and we'll talk about pricing, and it costs one thing to get somebody to call the phone or to ring the phone here at the office, right? And then it costs something else for us to send somebody to their house, and then it costs something else, So there's all these cost implications that go into it. But if somebody stops watching the video at the point where we've started talking about the cost, the price of doing whatever we're going to do, kitchen cabinets or exterior, they stop watching there, we know right then that they're probably not an ideal client, and they're not our perfect avatar of a client. So that's part of the value in having even that out there. Is like, how much is it going to cost? Well, it's going to cost, in this range, and being specific is never an ideal situation, but because there's so many variances, but at least giving a range,
setting an expectation.
Setting an expectation. So yeah.
So all that to say, like, there's an SEO component to what we do, and we might talk about that here in a second.
Yeah.
But we push a lot of the content onto our clients.
Yeah. The other way I like pushing it, because you said about the email, I'd love to push it through text message. People are hot on their text message, and so we can copy those, grab those links and share them, and then it's right there in their text world. They can click on it and see it. And such an amazing tool having that technology. Sorry, go ahead.
So the way I kind of view the way we approach this side of what I do, the content marketing side, and SEO in general, is a mid-funnel marketing channel. So what do I mean by mid-funnel? It means that people are already aware they have a problem. In our case, they want something painted, and they're looking for solutions to it.
Right.
SEO and content marketing more broadly can activate new leads, but what I'm trying to do is more geared towards people who are already looking for solutions.
Right.
And the more we establish ourselves as the expert, and the more we make that learning journey easier for them, the more likely they are to come to us.
Yeah. So you got the mid funnel, then you got the top of the funnel is just people that are just kind of looking, and they don't know if they want to buy. And then you got down here at the bottom of the funnel, they're pushing through and getting.
They're ready. They just need to find the right solution.
Yeah, the right solution. So, and that mid funnel is just giving them kind of an idea of, okay, this is where it's at, and do I like this company? Do I connect with their values or what their focus is? So, I love this angle from a sales standpoint. Both Chase and Finney and myself, when we merged, neither one of us were hard sales like I will say, I use the car salesman, we were none of us were like that. And the value, there is a time and a place to say, hey, let's go, this is what you want, but for both him and I, we would say that we are more of a consultant And that's why we call our salespeople project consultants, and we walk them through that, and so we're educating, right? And that is such a value, I think, as a company, is just to educate, just to present options. If we're not the right fit, we understand. There might be somebody else that is. 99% of the time we're the right fit. So, but yeah, so that's the thing I love about the content marketing angle is we're presenting all of the options and just giving answers that way. So
yep, and it's delivering that value-based content, because it's not, I mean, it is about supporting sales and making it easier, but it's also about establishing trust. Like when you're just transparent and you just say what you need to say clearly and concisely, that establishes a rapport with clients that they really appreciate. And if you maintain that through the whole process, I think, according to our data, it works.
Yeah,
and we win.
That's awesome. So you're a professional writer, it's very clear, and you've been growing in your other skill sets. We're all growing all the time in all of our skill sets, but let's talk. You got here. Kind of one of the topics is to talk about, how do you do this if you're not an expert?
For sure.
Maybe you're not an expert writer, or you're not an expert in the topic. Kind of, what are we doing there?
Yeah. So I have been a professional writer for about a decade. I've been freelancing I've written about cars. I wrote mostly about consumer tech, so that's iPads, smartphones, laptops, etc. I didn't know anything about any of that starting out, but what I found that I was good at, and what I think most content marketers and content writers is they're very good at filtering information. So no, I'm not an expert painter. I came here, I didn't know anything about paint. I didn't know what cutting it is. I still don't know how to roll.
Right.
But what I can do is I can observe and I can listen and I can filter that through. One example, not to brag, but one part where I thought I was pretty clever was we have a blog post about 2-in-1 paint primer. What's our opinion on paint primer?
Don't love it.
Don't love it.
Yeah.
And what I try to do is I try to understand, because you guys have technical reasons for why you don't like it.
Right.
And what I try to do is I try to listen to that, I try to understand, and then I try to connect that with something a bit more common knowledge.
Yeah.
So the analogy I created in that blog post is paint and primer is 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. Yeah, your hair will be clean, but is that
the best option?
The same as shampoo and conditioner?
Right.
No, not at all.
Right.
So I think it's about trying to make things, and I'm sure there are painters in comments being like, that's not even remotely the same.
Right.
But to like, and every person, they'll be like, oh, okay, no, that makes sense. 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner is not the same.
Well, and one of the things is it is very, I've had paint suppliers say it's a marketing strategy. And so apart from the fact that they just don't perform the same, it is legitimately a marketing strategy just to try to lure in the DIYers and get them to buy that product at a elevated price. And next thing you know, what you find out is that product is actually just a higher quality product, not, so, and they're never talking about in that specific example. And I know we're just talking about, these general ideas, but in that specific example, we're never talking about painting an entire wall that's never been primed before with that product, but rather, spot priming. And that's where they would narrow that down to. So, but the point is, you've not been an expert in paint.
Nope.
But it's whittling that down.
Yeah, and it's trying to find the actual message. So I listen to experts. I listen to you guys talk at all our meetings. When you're just in the hallway talking about product, I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
And it's about just distilling it. I view content writing and the content I create here as a filter. Yeah. So I'm filtering it through for a way that most people can understand.
So if somebody doesn't have a Caleb Clark on staff, a lot of the guys that might be listening to this are experts. They have had years and years of experience actually applying the product, but then they might not be experts in putting that onto paper or whatever, or even the back end of backlinking and doing all those things, putting in keywords and all that stuff. So, what does a company do? How can a company excel if they don't have a Caleb Clark, they don't have the budget space to maybe either do that, or how can a company get these things done?
Well, I mean, you have a couple of options. You can kind of just try to write it yourself, but I know writing for some people is very intimidating. Most people don't consider themselves writers.
Right.
There are like AI assisted ways to do it. You're gonna get variable results on that,
Sure.
and then eventually probably legal issues.
Yeah.
That's a whole other topic with that for another day.
Yeah.
And then the other option too is just hiring a marketing company to do it. Generally speaking, depending on how much content you want to make and the specific angle, it might be cheaper than just having someone on staff full time.
Sure.
I
wanted to go into that. Let's go into that. Like what? So somebody's watching, they're listening. Okay, you're getting lots of leads, and let's talk about that in just a second. But what does it generally cost for a company to hire a company to do this kind of stuff? Does that make?
Yeah, so that really depends on scale. It depends on how much content you want to do and how good the company is at what they do, and whether or not they're a startup or they're established.
Yep.
Generally speaking, so from my professional writing days, minimum you're going to pay for like a good writer is 10 cents a word.
Okay.
And that's someone who is not doing keyword research. That's not someone who's thinking about a content plan. Debatably not even doing SEO optimization. That is just someone who you're like, hey, I want to write a blog post about this. And they're like, got it, 10 cents a word.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good, great baseline. And so,
which usually ranges. So if you're starting there, you're looking at 50 to 100 to, if you're going really long form, $150 per article.
Okay. Yeah. So, cause you're looking at a 300 word article of sorts that, defines, whatever it is you're wanting. So, and then let's talk about kind of some of the data as to how this has helped us, and, how, we started with zero, I shouldn't say zero, but almost zero, maybe zero organic traffic. Website that was fairly new. We're about be ready for a new upgrade, but a website that was fairly new and not any blogs on it. I mean, a couple. Well, I think we maybe had
a handful, and one that was doing pretty decent.
So where did we go? Where we started? Where did we go? Where are we at?
Yeah. So when I started in August of 2021.
Yeah.
We were getting 500 to 800 views a month. Which is not bad, to be honest, for like a brand new site, and we weren't really doing anything on it.
Yeah.
Most new sites get 0.
Yeah.
And according to SEMrush, which is the search engine data software thing I use, you're getting about 200 organic searches. So people typing in keywords and heritage showing up in the results.
Yep.
Usually heritage was what they were looking for.
Yeah.
So what I did was, the first thing I did was I went through and I just optimized everything a little bit. I put in H2s with the keywords. I put keywords on blog posts because they weren't necessarily optimized for that. And then right off the bat, we had that post that was doing fairly well, getting 400 or 500. It jumped up to like 6,000-7,000 views a month.
Wow.
And that was 90% of our traffic for like a year.
And that's being influenced because of, well, obviously keywords and all that stuff, but Google's recognizing that.
Yep. And it was a pretty well written post anyway. I just went through and I optimized it for Google to find, and then Google just picked it up, and that was a big winner for us. Like I said, like for a while it was like upwards of 90% of our content.
Right.
And then, because the thing to keep in mind too is content marketing like this and SEO in general is a long game.
Right.
You might see results in 3 months like we did, but
say that one more time, because that's really big.
SEO is a long game. It's
a
a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Right.
Because you're putting pieces together. It's putting a puzzle together. You're putting pieces out, and it slowly starts to come together. And the more it comes together, the more Google's going to recognize that.
Yeah.
So you might see results in 3 months like we did. In general, 6 months to a year is when you're really going to start seeing results, and you're really going to start seeing that payoff. And that's what happened for us. I think for us, it was around between 15 and 18 months. We just kind of, exploded, and like
Yeah.
content that I was like, why isn't this performing well, started performing well, because
Yeah.
you have to go back, you have to backlink it, you have to relate all this stuff together.
Yeah.
So it is really about having a long-term vision and staying the course, even if you're like, we don't feel like it's working yet.
Yeah.
It's going to take time to work.
Yeah. No, that's incredible. And I think it's really fun. It was such a fun thing to watch at. And I really appreciate Caleb and his hard work to be able to show us the data and to see just knowing, okay, be patient, keep working diligently every day, little by little, increasing, adding. And our staff actually, they wrote blogs, and then you would fan the flame of those blogs that were written. And that's another way that a company can do that. They can, invite their staff to write blogs.
Mm-hmm.
Just write down the question that's asked and write a 300 little thing on how to answer that, right? At whatever it is,
Yep.
200 to 300 words, and how to answer that. And then, then have an expert put in the keywords and all that stuff to make it.
Because a really good writer is really going to be able to take any amount of information and run with it. We have people on staff who they don't consider themselves writers. They don't want to write a paragraph.
Right.
So when I was trying to get content from them, I was like, just write down 3 bullet points. I'm going to ask you this question. Give me 3 bullet points. And then I would spin a whole 500-word article out of that.
Nice.
And a good content writer is going to be able to do that. They're going to understand how to structure and make a story out of it.
Right. All right. So we could talk forever, but we shouldn't, about written content. And I love that topic. Let's switch and turn the tables towards video content. And
yes, one last thing before we.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Before we do the hard switch, so we're getting around 500-600 views a month.
Yeah.
That post exploded. We're getting like 5,000 or 6,000 views a month. Okay, great. Now, almost 2 years later, we're averaging about 3,700 searches, appearing in 3,700 searches a month, with an average of about 10,000 unique visitors a month. So
that's
in 2
incredible.
years.
That's incredible in 2 years. And okay, and I apologize, I shouldn't have start jumping so fast. We didn't get the final answer. But and then, obviously we're paying for, some Google paid services in there. You got LSA and you got PPC, pay-per-click, and some other things. So we're paying for about 50% of our leads from there. And I believe now we're bumped to about 50% of those are from organic, as best we can tell. And so the work that Caleb has put in and the rest of our team to writing blogs and doing all of that is starting to pay off, 2 years later, or even before that. And so if you get 30 leads a month from Google, which and 15 of those are organic, I mean, that's going to pay off. And content never sleeps.
Exactly. Organic being like you don't have to pay for the click onto
Right.
the website. So,
and one of the things that a lot of companies don't think about is their brand. This is a totally different topic, but branding is really a big deal. And for Heritage Custom Painting, we have a decent brand locally. We're looking at a brand refresh, and that maybe will help us, just kind of boost all those direct searches so that they know exactly where they're searching versus painter near me, and then finding a spot there. So, all right, are you ready to do a hard switch?
Let's do a hard switch.
All right, hard switch from written content to video content. What do you want to talk about there?
We can really cover anything.
Okay.
What do you want to ask me about video content?
Well, I mean, one of the things that we're learning is that Google emphasizes different values, right? And Google's king, and it's okay to say that. So, what is Google looking for when it comes to video content? Obviously, you got YouTube connected, and all of those things. But what does a company need to do in order to really go to the next level past just the written content? What's the next step? What are we doing?
Really, for us, what we're doing, we're just doubling down on the same thing, just in video form. Google is the #1 search engine in the world. #2 is YouTube, owned by Google.
Yeah.
And it's not even the third isn't even close.
Wow.
So when you look at SEO on YouTube, it's very much the same stuff. People are going there to learn things. They're going for that mid-funnel marketing.
Yep.
So for us, it's just doubling down. Google is also starting to prioritize written blog posts that have video components or other media components, so infographics or podcasts or pictures.
Right.
They're really trying to boost up content that has a multimedia facet to it.
So you've got somebody gets onto your website, they read a blog, they can click on the play button or something that's embedded there.
Watch a video that's there on the website.
And sometimes, and I've seen it, where that video is almost word for word of what the blog is.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's okay.
Yep, that's A-okay. Because, that's what we do. We pretty much just do word for word. At least right now what we're doing is we're trying to make a video version of the blogs. And, that's fine. Videos are different than blog posts. So it's not like we're copying and pasting a blog post and posting it on a different website.
Right. So some people, they look at all these technical things and they start really getting, start sweating in the palms or whatever, and they're nervous and it's still so much work. It's not for me or whatever they're saying to themselves. And so, they might need to outsource some of this, but like gathering the content, obviously you can go gather the content. What are some other things that we can do to gather content and then build these videos? Really,
the best thing, if you're on your own, you don't really have a content person to do it, just capturing it yourself. And you really just need to have an eye for, how do I make this interesting, and think about, what am I trying to show people? So for us, like if I'm trying to make a video and I'm talking about prepping an interior wall, I'm not going to stand 10 feet back with my iPhone and just have a video of like the guy standing from this far away.
Right.
I'm going to get in close. I'm going to show what that sandpaper is doing to the wall. I want to see the particles.
Falling. Or whatever.
Because you want to really show them what you're doing. Because Google, over anything, emphasizes value. Is this helping the person that's searching for it? So if people are like, how do you prep interior walls? You click on a blog post and there's a video showing it and a blog post detailing how to do it. That's providing value, and Google is going to recognize that and bump it. So
that's awesome. So don't be afraid of doing it. And one thing I learned years ago is just do something, right? It's not going to be perfect.
It's not going to be perfect. Our most popular YouTube video is not perfect. Not even remotely. Because we're pushing for video, I would say I'm a professional writer, amateur filmmaker. My content is much better than it was when I started. But it wasn't all that great when I started.
No, I'm not going to argue with that one. And then you can also have some of your team get the video content, and somehow get that. The hardest thing I think that we struggle with and we're going to grow through this is where to store it, and there's solutions to that. I think. All of us have a million videos on our phone or whatever, but some people are technically more savvy than others, and so that becomes a challenge.
On that note, it was like, if you're really looking like, I don't know how to get better, or I don't know how to make good video, we're currently training the staff on it, and I'm just teaching them the way I learned, which was by watching YouTube videos.
Right, and I love it because we call it the Caleb Clark Show at staff meetings. So you come with a little video and you're showing that, and I think our people, we got a video the other day from one of our project managers, and he was trying to show an example of how he was mimicking what Caleb had showed us, and we all had a good laugh at that because it kind of looked a little creeper like, but it was good.
Yeah, but then also some of it is good. So
exactly.
The way I kind of approach everything, especially in this kind of video making space where I'm not quite as much of an expert, is just getting 1% better. I just want to get a little better at one particular thing. So whether that's, I want to learn how to do subtitling, I want to make TikToks, I want to for me, a big thing I just tried to get better at was like, I just want to edit a little faster. So if you're starting out on this, you don't have a budget, you're not hiring a company to make videos for you, give yourself a little bit of grace and just realize that if you just get a little bit better, if you just focus on doing one thing better in each video, a year from then you'll be tremendously better.
I think it was about a year and a half ago we gave you a little bit of space at a staff meeting to talk about just anything, and you brought that up, and I think that's been very impactful. I've watched you live that. Just do 1% better, little by little. And I think that those that are listening, there's two things: that 1% better, and then just execute.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't execute, if you don't take that step, you're not going to go there. So
if
just
you're not
execute.
executing, you're not getting 1% better.
Yeah,
So,
So
you can watch the videos all day, you can read the blog posts all day,
Yeah.
you can theorize all day about how to be better, but you won't get better until you do it.
And for me, sometimes when I get myself painted into a corner and my back's against the wall, and our company has, those are real pain points. You're feeling that pain. You don't know what to do. Push it. Many times those are the times where you get the most creative thoughts and you figure a way out. And we've had those with other aspects of our company, but especially when it comes to this, just execute 1% little better every time. Okay. Are we ready for the announcement?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So those of you that may be watching, maybe you're like, yeah, that's great. I love what you're saying, but there's no way in the world I would be able to do that. Well, we have a solution for you. So we're excited for that to be able to announce today. It's been a dream of mine for about 4 years, and dream of Caleb's probably for as long. Probably about 6 months ago, we just kind of began to think, what are we going to do with what we're seeing this success? What are we going to do with this? And so I'm super excited to be able to announce today that we are now going to begin to offer, and you help me out with this, digital marketing through a company that we started called GPS Media.
Yep. So it's a GPS Media. It's a digital marketing company specifically focused on SEO content marketing. So if you've got blog posts that you want written, like you've got a burning passion to share information with your clients, we want to help you develop that.
All the things that we've learned painfully and wonderfully over the last 2 years, really just kind of boiling those down into a company that is going to be able to serve a lot of other, whether you're mom and pop and it can be in any kind of industry. It might be paint, you might be in technology. What would be some other people that would be looking for?
Yeah, so anyone, it really depends on, because we have two facets of it. We've got the SEO side and we've got the content side. It really depends on what you're trying to improve, because if you want traffic and you want attention on your website, doing like a national SEO approach is good. That's especially good for e-commerce positions. So if you're trying to start an online store, getting a national presence on SEO is going to be really important.
Yep.
If you're trying to just get more people into your store, getting a more of a local SEO approach, that's also something we work on a lot with our Google business profiles and so on and so forth. Or even if you're just trying to be like, I just want to have content to help my teams. Yep. I just want to have content to make the process smoother. We can do that as well.
So if there's a company out there that they want some GPS Media help, how can they reach out to you specifically to get that help?
Yeah, the best way would be go to our website, gpsmedia.us. I'll leave a little thing on the video and the show description. Or you can just email me at caleb@gpsmedia.us. Again, I'll have that in the show notes and on the screen. That's going to be the best way to get a hold of me, and then I'd love to see what I can work out with you.
Yeah, awesome, and we can help you. It's been fun. Just already, we're already got some clients that we're working with and helping, and again, it's the long game. Mm-hmm. Be patient, but I
am providing free discovery calls for everyone. So everyone who's interested, I'll go on, I'll talk with you, I'll look at what you have so far, and I'll let you know, A, if we're a good fit for you, and B, what we can do and what that kind of roadmap would look like.
Yeah, and the success, I love it when you have that discovery call, because you sit down with them and you say again the success that we've had here at Heritage and how that can translate to their company, and what does that look like for their lead? Because at the end of the day, everybody wants just leads. We just lead.
Leads. Yeah, lead generation, exactly.
And it's like, okay, yes, we want leads for you, but there's more to it than that. And there's more value that can be added. So
absolutely. So are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Let me let us help you #find your way.
Nice.
Today.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
the hashtag.
I like
that. #find your way. Love it. And our you can check out our logo on our Facebook page or on the website, and it's just got that that little GPS Pin drop is what it's called, I guess. So, all right. So let's wrap this up. So why are you at Heritage? Not the technical reasons, but are there any other reasons that why you would say you are at Heritage?
So I would say probably the big reason I've stuck around is
That's good. That's good. Thank you for the emphasis.
But I think one of the reasons I'm really drawn to working here specifically is the emphasis on culture and values. I see you guys operate with integrity, and that's one of our core values at Heritage. You live it every single day, I feel.
Yeah.
And you're open to when things aren't working and how to improve them. There's a big emphasis on accountability that I really appreciate at every level. And I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate what the company's trying to do and trying to standardize and professionalize the industry. That's a mission that I can really get behind, and I like being on the ground floor of.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. I love that. I always love asking that question, and it's been different in every podcast. So that's really cool. Love that. All right, the last question I have for you is, this comes from the Dream Manager. What does Caleb Clark dream about when you're writing or when you're thinking, or because you do a lot of thinking as you're writing or preparing for that and you create and whatever? What do you dream about? You and I are very similar in the fact that we're kind of visionaries and creatives and dreamers and that kind of thing. So what do you like to dream about?
Yeah, so I'm one of those people where I dream about a lot of things. Sometimes I get little mini dreams like, wow, this would be really cool to do. So I think that's something I love and hate about myself. But overall, the common trends of what I dream about, I have a dream of being a published fiction author. I've written a handful of books. I think one of them is pretty good now. So
that's awesome.
And I really wanted to go to film school, really wanted to make films. And my life obviously just took a little bit of a different course. But I'd really hope maybe here in like 10, 15 years to start a media company or like a film production company, and either in like a producer or a director role, get into that.
Yeah, and
in a different stage of my life.
So, so you've written one book.
I've written 3 books.
3 books.
One of them is maybe pretty good. So
you also do a lot of volunteering and work with different theaters and stuff like that. So you have that production mindset and awareness. That's awesome. I love that. And from my standpoint, as being kind of your boss, one of my dreams is to help our staff's dreams come true. And so I'm not sure how I'm going to help that come true, but we'll work on it. So we'll have to think about it. But I do know some publishers, but we'll see where it goes one step at a time.
Yeah.
So, all right. Awesome. Caleb, thanks for being with us on Not Just a Painter and sharing all this great content about content. And so I really appreciate you coming in. And if anybody needs support on any of this, whether it's just asking questions, reach out to Caleb. He'll have that in the tag there for how to reach out to him. But if you want further help through GPS Media, let us know. So we'd love to help you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.